Hello, guys and gals, me Mutahar, and there's a lot of hullabaloo today about what Discord did. Ladies and gentlemen, you know how much we dislike age verification? We're reaching that point in the world where I'm gonna have to show my ID everywhere I go, okay? Do I wanna post something to GitHub? Better show that ID. Do I wanna do anything worthwhile on the internet? Better walk around with my identification. Now, I love anonymity on the internet. I think it's a good thing. I think we should be allowed to discuss things freely on the internet without fucking every single ID being needed, okay? Now, before we continue this video, I wanna stress one thing. A lot of the arguments from the opposing side, which is Discord, are all about thinking of the children, keeping the kids safe. I'm gonna be real with you, this is what we call a Trojan horse into taking our privacy and everything away. None of these organizations give a shit about children, okay? Discord and Roblox have pretty much been like, hand in hand in being some of the worst platform for children. This will not change anything. To give you an idea, we are 4 months away. Okay, 4 months ago, there was an actual ID leak through Discord. Okay, literally, Discord was enforcing this same practice, okay, taking people's identification cards in places like Australia and then absolutely having that shit leaked out. Now, unfortunately, what happened over here in this case was that there was actually a data breach where identity documents that were required to prove their age were compromised, okay? So the company had said that last week, an unauthorized party had compromised one of Discord's third-party customer services. So it wasn't necessarily Discord, it was who Discord was using to verify your shit, okay? Now again, this is the exact thing that I warn you guys about. This is the exact thing most privacy nerds warn you about. When you give your ID to these companies, don't just think that they're gonna remove that shit. No, they're just sitting there waiting for hackers to grab, okay? So of course, I don't trust Discord. You shouldn't trust Discord. No one should trust any company with this shit whatsoever, right? Anyways, so what did Discord do today, ladies and gentlemen? Well, all of a sudden, Discord's requiring either a face scan or your ID for full access next month. Now, basically what that effectively means, and if we just get it right from Discord's mouth over here, right fresh from the devil's dick, we can see that Discord is announcing enhanced teen safety features. Globally, by the way. So, all those fucking people's like, oh, they're only going to be doing age verification in the United Kingdom, Muda. It won't end up here. Fuck you, okay? All right, fuck you raw, buddy. Because now this is a global problem. So it doesn't matter whether you live in Canada, Peru, Pakistan, all right, fucking the Russian Federation, North Korea. You're all having to give up your IDs now, bitch. Or at best, your selfie goes up for age estimation. So basically what they've said here is that this is apparently for them making a safer environment for users, all right, over the age of 13, an inclusive experience, I guess. As part of this update, all new and existing users worldwide will have a teen-appropriate experience by default. So all of us are now teen-appropriate, okay? Meaning that we are not considered adults anymore, okay? It's just not happening. So basically, that means we have updated communication settings, so I imagine, you can't just drop like fuck, probably, or pussy magnet in the chat. There's probably going to be some communication restrictions, okay? Not Nintendo tier, I imagine, but at least enough. Restricted access to age-gated spaces. So obviously there's NSFW discords, places where, really filthy shit happens. That will not be allowed for entry. You have to show the driver's license to get in. Content filtering that preserves the privacy and meaningful connections that define Discord. Privacy, as we're on the cusp of asking most of the user base for identification. So they're going to have a phased global rollout in early March, so literally next month. Users may be required to engage in an age verification process. So again, this isn't entirely sent for everybody, okay? Not everybody is going to be doing this. And again, I wanted to look at how this was working, so let's look closer. So what they're doing is age assurance, and the way that they're going to be doing this is through two ways, which is, either take your selfie and have it sent over so an AI estimates how old you are, which has been prone for failure. Okay, there's some people that are too young that either get thrown into the adult side, or sometimes there's adults that look way too young and they get thrown back into the kiddie corner. And sometimes you can just get specifically placed in certain age brackets. And if certain diddlers know how to abuse to get into those age brackets, well, now they have a privacy age-verified pool of people to go after. It's a mess all around. Anyways, though, so they said Discord will implement an age inference model. Ooh, sounds fancy, doesn't it? A new system that runs in the background. On your background or my local hardware? Because anything extra to add more bloat to this piece of shit Electron software is not something that I'm enjoying. But anyways, it's going to help determine whether you're an adult or you're not. Because again, they're not obviously going to just ask everyone for an ID. Can you imagine the nightmare for Discord even when it comes to this? No, they're going to be using an AI to see, okay, that guy seems, maybe they're a little too young, maybe a little too old, we don't know. So without always requiring users to verify their age, some users may be asked to use multiple methods if more information is needed to assign an age group. So, you could show them your driver's license, they'll be like, no, that's not enough. Maybe a passport as well? Maybe something like that? Like, bitch, do you want my fucking first and last month? Do you want my goddamn utilities bill too? All right, bitch, am I using a social media service or opening up a bank account? Which one is it? It's going to get to a point where the tax revenue agency is going to take less information from you than the fucking social media site. But anyways, let's go on. Key privacy protections include on-device processing. So video selfies for facial age estimations never leave a user's device. Now, this is good because what it basically means, they're going to download like a vision model to your phone or computer, and that vision model is going to look at the photo that is on your device, process the information, and then send off a yes or no flag without sending your selfie over. So that actually is not bad, okay? I actually think that's kind of cool, okay? I think having everything locally on your system and the only thing it sends off is a yes or no is not a bad thing to have. And then you've got quick deletion, which I don't believe because literally 4 months ago, IDs were captured and they were stolen. Identity documents submitted to our vendor partners are deleted quickly. We know that's not a fact. We know that's not true. This should actually be qualified as a straight up lie, okay? We just had Australians' informations leaked, bro. What are you on about? What are you fucking crazy? What are you high? What do you think I'm stupid? What? Straightforward verification. In most cases, users complete the process once and their Discord experience adapts. So I guess they're only going to be asked for this once. Users may, however, be asked to use multiple methods. So I don't know in what case that would be, but then they've got private status. So a user's age verification status cannot be seen by other users. And I hope that's the case. Simply because, with the age verification systems we have, it's given literal child predators like, hey guys, hey my fellow preds, we've got a whole pool of verified kitties to track down. That, again, I said this whole system is a total mess. But yes, Discord is now moving into the future of the world where unfortunately every single aspect of our life will be monitored and cataloged. All digital anonymity does not exist anymore, and it's not about these people caring for the kids. I'm going to straight up say it. I think we're headed into a future pushed by companies like Palantir, pushed by multiple of the world's governments, to have our internet activity completely logged, completely tracked, and all of the stuff that we love to do completely monitored by these individuals. So you really can't say what you want online. You really can't do what you want online. And the reality of it is you might be like, well, just play along and nothing bad will ever happen. But the thing is, man, we're at a point where, even in the United States, malware is being brought by companies like ICE, for instance, or federal agencies like ICE that typically are involved for immigrations and customs enforcement. Now they pretty much hire any fucking person with a soul. And now they're also allowed to purchase malware, zero-click malware, to hack into people's devices. Now, do you think an organization like ICE is just going to hack into illegals' devices? Do you think they're building things like Immigration OS just to spy, just to keep track of all the illegals in the country? You don't think that these systems will keep being used to maybe hack phones of dissidents, maybe hack into devices of dissidents, plant possible evidence, use that shit against them? You think things like Immigration OS or or any of these tools aren't going to be used to track individuals that are outside the scope of enforcement or allowed enforcement for these organizations, if you honestly don't believe that is the case, you are the most naive fuck that I might have ever actually witnessed, okay? Literally, these are problems in the world. And again, I'm only bringing up the United States because typically they're the only ones that still have the most amount of checks and balances against the government, for now at least. But imagine if you're living in other countries where, again, online internet traffic being somewhat critical of the government can actually land you the royalty of being a political prisoner, or God forbid anything worse. What happens to those people? I mean, how do those people maintain their anonymity when you have to give up your driver's license to these services that obviously can have that information completely subpoenaed by any law enforcement agency that, they are beholden to? These are the unfortunate realities of this situation. And Discord has went from, the app that you use to talk to your friends to, unfortunately, being the app that has the total market share of all online discourse. We used to live in a world, a proper world, where having a conversation online or sharing files, and, it all used to be in these publicly available forums and groups. Now, especially when it comes to, for example, things like video game mods, for instance, right? You have to jump into very specific Discords that, if they're gone, the information inside them is gone forever, right? It's not as easy to archive Discord servers as we used to archive old websites and shit. And, it used to be easier to access older communities. The only remnants of that shit are probably things like the Something Awful forums, fucking 4chan, the occasional 90s fan site for a video game that you could find. But, I'm getting too ahead of myself over here. What option do we, the users, have, if we don't want to give up our IDs to something like Discord? Well, if you get asked, unfortunately, if you need Discord, then you're going to have to fess up an ID. But there are alternatives, right? They're not perfect alternatives, but they are alternatives. For instance, shit like TeamSpeak, for instance, right? You may remember this from back in the day. Some of you younger kids may not know what TeamSpeak is, but you can download this and set it up and get a Discord-like experience for now. In fact, what's even cooler about this is they actually provide the server documentation and server files so you can host your own TeamSpeak and not even require IDs from anybody, right? What a novel concept, self-hosting. There's also things like Matrix that are a little bit more tougher to set up, but once you get things going, again, self-hosted equivalents to Discord. There's also things like Zulip, for instance, where you can get a similar Discord experience that you can self-host yourself, literally install the server and allow access for all the people you want involved. And I'm bringing up these alternatives because even though they're not perfect, they're not at the same level of, hey, let's just start grabbing your identification because one country thought it was cool and now the rest of the fucking world is normalizing this dog shit. We're at a point where the internet has turned into this papers, please bullshit. And, again, I want to just bring up something that's really crazy again. And this explains why it's not just about the kids. I have used tons of AI services to sort of showcase them on my channel. For instance, ChatGPT is one. I gave one subscription to ChatGPT. It wasn't ongoing or anything, but I did it to access features that I could show onto my channel. And you would think that, because I gave them my credit card, oh, wow, this account seems like it belongs to an adult. I mean, Mutahar gave me his, financial information that was his credit card, something that an adult typically has. It wasn't a prepaid card either. You could tell by what the card registered as. And still, ChatGPT marked me as a child. Now, I've never given ChatGPT my ID. At this point, I don't really even need to use ChatGPT. I don't really care. If they want to mark me as a child, even though I'm clearly an adult, that's fine. Their loss. When I look at something like Discord, I have paid for Discord Nitro probably for years now. Just let the subscription run and I was boosting a couple servers that, belong to me and my friends. In fact, for me, Discord is not something I log into on a daily thing. It's something that I use specifically to talk to Kyle, Amaru, and a few of my friends that play Rainbow Six Siege. So, that's all I use Discord for. If I lose the ability to talk to my friends on Discord, because, I don't know, maybe their channels are set to NSFW, or maybe they're adults and I'm like a kid, then fuck it. I'm just going to have to use something like TeamSpeak. And I'm sure the few of my friends that use Discord also don't feel comfortable giving up their shit all the time, even though they're also paying people. So even with a Discord Nitro membership, and again, we'll have to see in March how this plays out. Maybe they'll tag my account as an adult. But I just think passing this out globally is a bad thing. I think that there's going to be a lot of people that will get picked up and they'll be asked for their identification. They'll give up their IDs. And then it's only one data breach away from just being a total headache for everybody. Again, it's just a bad precedent to set. The internet should not be a place where we're giving up our information, losing our anonymity, and losing the last bastion of real unfettered free speech. Look, again, before we end this video, I know there's a lot of bad shit that happens on the internet, okay? There's a lot of sickos out there in the world. There's a lot of people that prey on teenagers and children, and nobody hates them more than yours truly. In fact, I'm sure a lot of you people watching, I think, I'm gonna wager and say 99.999% of people watching this video hate pedophiles, okay? I'm only saying 99.999 because statistically there's a chance that a sick fuck watches this video, right? It's like Lysol. You know, you fucking run that shit on your table. Not every bacteria dies, right? Most, if not all of the world hates these people. Sick people that prey on children. But we also realize that when these organizations are pushing for this, I think that there's a much more ulterior motive, which is tracking all of our movements online, as opposed to just the protection of children. Again, anytime kids get brought up, it's always as a shield for pushing some of the most draconian laws out there. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, that's all I had to say. Fuck Discord, man. I mean, really, I hope they maybe roll this back. But I just think with the way the world is going, with how some countries have made this part of their law, like the United Kingdom and Australia, they're just planning to push this everywhere. And we are hitting a point where the internet is becoming incredibly segregated, incredibly monitored in the most record amount of time. It's a crazy world. But yeah, if you like what you saw, please like, comment, and subscribe. Dislike if you dislike it. I am out.